afternoon. Welcome to a very abbreviated version of 580 Sports Talk here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. We have 28 minutes to be with you here this afternoon following Royals baseball, so we will make the most of the time that we have got. Royals fall today to Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks 2-0 and drop the rubber game of a 3-game series in Phoenix after winning last night 5-4, one of the more fun wins of the season last night for the Royals. And we will break it all down here and then talk about whatever else we have time to talk about, which again is not much here on 580 Sports Talk. I'm Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzynski joins us from Dworzynski headquarters. Brendan, good afternoon. How did you enjoy Royals baseball today?
I enjoyed it by going to the gym and getting a haircut and taking a shower and a shave and trying to only keep about half of one eye on the game because not great offensively. Didn't expect a whole lot. You've got the ace of the opponent going up against effectively a bullpen day. Ryan Yarbrough gives you 4 innings. I'll be completely candid with you. Looking at the pitching matchup, I said, there's a lot of juice on Diamondbacks minus 1.5 on the run line in this game, and I think I'm going to take it anyway, even with all that juice. And it ended up panning out, although I give the Royals and that pitching staff credit, holding them to 2 runs. You hold anyone to 2 runs in a game, you're going to have a chance to win. Now, unfortunately, the offense did not give them a chance to win throughout this game, but better pitching performance than I was expecting. Not really surprised the Royals didn't do much against one of the National League's better pitchers, but again, coming up with absolutely nothing. Grand total in this game of 5 hits and a whopping 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Not great. Not feeling great about that. So I tried not to pay too much attention, even though kind of had to.
Not much in the way of offense. You said it, just 5 hits for the Royals. They did look like they might mount a rally in the ninth, got the first 2 runners aboard thanks to a hit and an error against the Diamondbacks reliever Andrew Chafin, but Matt Duffy and Franmil Reyes both pinch hit and both flew out. And then for whatever reason, I think Salvador Perez still plays for the Kansas City Royals. I think he was presumably available to pinch hit. I think he was at the ballpark today. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm killing Matt Quatrero for something that isn't true. But you couldn't have pinch hit there for Freddie Fermin. He had no chance. Come on, it's Freddie Fermin. You know, you got a chance to win this ball game. Freddie Fermin's not going to be on the club until anytime. You know, you're going to send him down in fairly short order. Why not pinch hit Sal there? I understand if the compulsion is to give Sal a full day off. I get that some managers are really rigid about that. If they're going to give a guy a day off, they give him the day all the way off. But if you're trying to go win a ball game, maybe break your rule, give yourself a little bit of a better chance. I don't know. So, Fermin struck out. That was the ball game. 4 strong innings from Ryan Yarbrough in his start. This was the turn in the rotation that used to be Chris Bubich's before his injury. The Royals went with the opener strategy the last time through. This time they just handed the ball to Yarbrough. 77 pitches in 4 innings. He's not quite stretched out enough to go much beyond that pitch count-wise. So you heard Quatrero say that, in fact, on the postgame show. Bullpen gave up a run in 4 frames. Came off of Amir Garrett in the 5th. Stalmont and Taylor both really good in the 7th and the 8th. Quas, or in the 6th and the 7th. Quas scoreless in the 8th. But the Royals unable to support that effort from the pitching staff, and they dropped the rubber game. They did win last night 5-4, and it's worth going back and touching on that game a little bit, Brendan, because that was exactly the bounce-back outing we were hoping to see from Brady Singer.
And again, we said it going into that game last night. Of all the struggles that pretty much everyone on this team except Vinny Pasquantino has had, whether they're a pitcher, hitter, starter, reliever, whatever, nobody needed to have a positive momentum bounce back game more than Brady Singer. All the hype coming into this year, you're the best pitcher on this staff, et cetera, World Baseball Classic roster, all of that. Just bad to start this year. To see him go out, command the zone, strike a handful of guys out, only give up, 5 hits, the 1 run for the game, doesn't walk anybody. You touched on that going into the game again last night, that he was really doing a good job not walking anybody. That is the game that the Royals, I think, looking at the pitching staff, you needed to see more than anything else, more than you needed to see a good outing out of Ryan Yarbrough today, more than you needed to see any individual bullpen performances today, last night, any of that. You had to see Brady Singer bounce back. It was nice to get at least a little help from the offense as well. Vinny with a hit, Bob Witt with a couple of hits in the game as well. By the way, speaking of Bob Witt, did you see the post over at Royals Review today about how Bob Witt is actually just Eric Hosmer part 2 and not in a good way?
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I understand the premise is that Eric Hosmer has, in his pomp, would hit the ball hard, but all too often hit the ball hard on the ground. And I understand that so far this year, Bobby Witt Jr. is hitting a lot of hard ground balls. And hard ground balls, more often than not, they end up as outs. You want to hit the ball hard and in the air, give yourself a chance. And Hosmer didn't do that nearly often enough. And that was a problem really over the course of his entire career, that he hit too many balls on the ground. Bobby Witt Jr. is 22 years old. Let's pump the brakes on saying that this is a finished product as a hitter.
Yeah, so that popped in. I've been thinking about that all day, and the fact that I get it, but also I don't really get it. So it was good to see, generally speaking, some offensive contributions from all those guys last night. Sal had 2 hits last night. Olivares had 2 hits last night. Half the dang roster had multiple hits last night. So it was good to see that in support of Brady Singer, because nothing would have been more painful, even though, we know things like the win-loss record, that doesn't matter in modern Major League Baseball. When you're assessing how good a pitcher is, you don't need to look at the win-loss record, because we know that's such a flawed statistic. But it would have sucked to see, dang, Brady Singer looked awesome. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings or 6 innings, and then they still lost 1-0, or they lost 2-0, or something like that. That would have been especially painful. So the fact that the Royals were able to pull out the win, a little bit extra, icing on top of that particular cake. But it was good to see. You need him to be that good going forward, because you need to have that proof that that guy we saw from, what was it, early July, late June last year through the end of the year, the reason he was added to the World Baseball Classic Team USA roster, that is the guy we know can be a front half of the rotation starter going forward. That's the Bobby Witt we saw, or pardon me, now I'm thinking about Bob Witt. No, that is the Brady Singer we saw at the end of last year, and the one we need to keep seeing. So that was more encouraging than getting a win last night, although it was nice to toss the win in there as well.
Yeah, the Singer said after the game he had tweaked his slider a little bit, and that certainly helped. It definitely looked like a better pitch. Fastball had a little bit more life to it. It was the Brady Singer, like you said, that we grew accustomed a little bit to seeing last season with the Royals, and it was comforting, I think, to see that version of Brady Singer again take the mound against an Arizona lineup that they can go really left-handed on you, because they've got a lot of switch hitters, a lot of left-handed hitters, and that can give a pitcher like Brady Singer trouble, because Singer doesn't have, like, the changeup has long been a discussion thing with him, right? Because without that changeup, he was pretty hittable by lefties. Even when you go back to his college days, lefties always had better luck against him than right-handers did. So they can go really left-handed, and they did go as left-handed as they could against Singer, and he still was able to keep them off balance. And then another guy who pitched really well last night was Scott Barlow, coming in for the 5-out save after it got a little wobbly for Aroldis Chapman. Barlow comes in and gets a pair of big strikeouts in the 8th to keep the tying run on board. And then after giving up a leadoff double in the 9th, pitches his way out of that problem and leaves the tying run stranded to secure that 1-run victory. Been a bit of a wobbly start for Barlow this season, and that was the best he's looked. And again, encouraging that a slider, breaking ball heavy right-hander against all those lefties, he did the job. And that's kind of how you draw it up. The Royals are going to win any ball games, any kind of ball game. You want to get good, solid starting pitching, and Scott Barlow is going to be a big part of that back end for now.
Yeah, and talking a moment ago about how badly Brady Singer needed that bounce back, if you're talking about any other pitcher on the roster, you needed Scott Barlow to give you something, because he has been so, I don't even necessarily want to say out of character, because he's had some up and down moments during his career, but you needed to see him build a little momentum. You needed to see him pick up the pace, for lack of a better word, and say, all right, what's going on? Let's figure it out, because 2 different things here. One, you need somebody in the bullpen who is competent in high leverage situations for the course of this season. 2, there is a chance that come the end of July, there may be a team saying, hey, we really need a bullpen arm. You've got 2 of them. Aroldis Chapman is going to get traded if he's playing well enough. He is going to get moved at the deadline.
For sure.
Scott Barlow might be that guy too. And while you don't want to say, oh my God, we're giving away all of the guys who we brought up, all of these guys who we've had for a while, we dump all of them without really seeing the fruits of our labor turning into any sort of wins. Well, you'd rather have prospects at this point going forward if they're going to help you the next time you actually have a competitive team. So one way or the other, Scott Barlow at his best is adding value to this team, whether it's in the form of pieces acquired or it's in the form of, hey, we're actually winning games and we're winning in high leverage situations. So good to see him get back on the horse. I don't know if it is just this Diamondbacks team that the Royals seem to have a bit of a pitching edge against. I don't know if it's maybe these guys actually have it figured out. You mentioned for Brady Singer specifically, he tweaked the slider a little bit. Whatever it takes to get it done, I'm happy to see it. But now it's about repeating it. And that the thing that sucks, Dan, is that specifically talking about Singer, but this applies to the bullpen too, that's been the point for 4 years now. Or, yeah, this is 4 because Singer and Bubic pitched in the 2020 short season.
Yeah.
That it's, wow, we see it. We can see the stuff is there. They can get the strikeouts. They can command the zone, at least from time to time. Singer does a better job of that than the other guys. But we've seen the flashes. But now you've got to do it more. And for Singer specifically, we saw half a season of that last year. And then he comes into this year, and this looks like a completely different guy. This looks like the guy who was getting shelled in the early part of 22 and parts of 21 as well. For Barlow, we've seen, hey, this can be a reliable back of the bullpen, high leverage situation guy, maybe a ninth inning guy. And then we see the first 3 weeks of the season where, oh my God, this is Scott Barlow. This is the guy we were hoping we could bank this bullpen on this year. So we've seen the good this weekend or this week, the good. Now we need to see it again this weekend. Now we need to see it again next week. We need to see it 3 out of the next 4 appearances for each of these guys. You need to actually extend that out over time because anyone can be a one-hit wonder, but you actually need guys who can repeat that success over and over if you want to find any semblance of team success. The Royals haven't had enough of those guys, and maybe, hopefully, this is the start of that for both Singer in the rotation and Barlow out of the bullpen.
They're certainly going to need to pitch well in this coming 4-game series in Minnesota against the Twins, as the Twins will line up their best guys against the Royals' best guys. Greinke, Lyles, Keller, and Singer the next 4 days in Minnesota. The Twins will run Tyler Mahle out tomorrow, followed by Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, and Joe Ryan. Lopez, of course, handcuffed the Royals on opening day. Gray and Ryan have had tremendous success against the Royals in their careers, particularly as members of the Minnesota Twins. We got some thoughts on the text line. We appreciate you tuning in and sending us some texts as you hang out with us today here on this shortened edition of 580 Sports Talk. 785-272-9429 is the text line. A couple of texts from the 785. One saying the Royals committed some more baseball today, with baseball being in quotation marks. Another one from the 785. This team continues to just have uncompetitive plate appearances too often. And yeah, you especially saw that from the bottom of the order today. But on the flip side, Zach Gallen is really good. I think we can probably start talking about Zach Gallen on the really short list of elite starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. I have that much regard for him. I think he's really, really outstanding. And he showed his day with his 12 punch-outs in beating the Royals 2-0. We're going to step aside here for a short break. We'll call it a 2-minute break. We'll come back, talk a little bit about what's coming up tonight in the sports world, any other loose, stray pieces of information that we might want to touch on here in our short time together. It is 580 Sports Talk on a Wednesday afternoon here on 580 WIBW. It's 5:48 here on 580 Sports Talk. Just a couple of minutes here before we'll get to a final word and wrap things up for good on the program. Dan Lucero in studio, Brendan Dworzinski at the Dworzinski Estate, hanging out with us this afternoon. We are on YouTube.
That's one word for it.
I have called, so I used to refer to my apartment as Lucero Manor. And it became kind of a running joke on my Twitter account, any sports talk show I was on. And so I had about 6, because I moved around so much, 6 different versions of Lucero Manor until I settled into the one that I now share with my wife. So, yeah, lean into it. Dworzinski Estate, I think that works.
Yeah, I like that one.
So we've got Brendan with us. We've got just a couple of minutes here. We are streaming on YouTube. You can check us out on our YouTube page, Sports on 580 WIBW. You can subscribe on YouTube. Hello to Frank, who is checking us out today. His Redlegs victorious today. Walk-off dinger for Nick Senzel, giving the Reds a sweep of the Rangers. And that's
a good Rangers team, too.
Yeah, they've played really good ball early on. Ask the Royals. That's a good sweep for Frank's Reds. Hello to Frank. Hello to all of you tuning in. A couple other texts from the text line, 785-272-9429. One for the 402 says, any Royals fans who are K-State fans at least have a big Batcat series to look forward to this weekend, as they're back in Big 12 play starting on Friday night against Texas Tech. You're going to be able to hear that game right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9 immediately following Royals baseball. Royals have a 3:10 first pitch on Friday, and so you will not be hearing 580 Sports Talk on Friday. What you will be hearing instead will be Royals baseball, and then immediately following we'll take you to the K-State Sports Network from Learfield to bring you that one. Speaking of the Cats, a question from the 785. There's any basketball portal news for the Cats today? Don't believe we have any news, but Tyler Perry sure does look good in lavender. He tweeted out his promotional pictures. I guess, and I've learned this from a family friend who had an athlete in their family, high school athlete, recruited to play Division I sports recently. That's like the first thing they do is they bring you into a full photo shoot, professionally done, all the gear, your family's involved. Like they really do it big. And that's one of the first things on the menu when you make your recruiting visit. So Tyler Perry got his picture taken in K-State gear. He made sure to say not committed in his tweet when he tweeted out all the pictures, but does look good in lavender, I got to say.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I think pretty much every player does. My take is that K-State should wear those full time, or at least that should be the home uniform, road uniform. I don't know, something. They need to wear it more often, no matter what, even though they've been wearing it more over the course of time. I assume Tyler Perry is going to end up at K-State. That's what everything is trending toward. Now, the portal's crazy, and I know I've admitted shamefully on this radio station and on YouTube and everything that I've gotten very into the message board world lately, and I've learned very quickly things change in the portal instantly. Like when Nick Timberlake committed to KU last week, for 3 or 4 days, it was, it's going to be UConn. He's from the area. It's better fit, yada, yada, yada. They moved scholarships out so he could come in. Oh, he ends up at Kansas. Things just change so quickly, even more so than they do in regular high school recruiting. So I'm expecting Tyler Perry is going to end up being a K-State Wildcat, which would be, by the way, again, as we said yesterday, a freaking great get for Jerome Tang's group, but not quite sealed the deal yet. But I think he's officially announcing, Dan, on May 2nd, I believe is when his announcement date is.
Okay. So, we'll keep an eye on that. And
also, I would like to clarify, Mark on YouTube wanted us to make sure, yes, not Tyler Perry, the actor. This is Tyler with an O, Perry.
Tyler with
not
an
Medea.
O. That common spelling.
Right.
Tyler with an O. Again, I only have one Tyler Perry joke, and I hope to make it on May 2nd. I hope that's when K-State can say hello to Tyler Perry, the Conference USA player of the year.
Medea goes to a basketball game.
Medea goes to Bramlage. One sports thing you're looking forward to tonight, Brendan?
A lot of good NBA action coming up later on tonight. I'm going to, by the way, my gambling pick of the night for you, Grizzlies first half. I think they're going to come out firing against the Lakers tonight. I think the Grizzlies are going to end up winning that game. They better, because if they go out as the 2 seed in the West and then they get knocked out in 5 games, yuck. we're moving beyond. They need to get some adults and more into. They need to reconsider the entirety of that franchise and what they're doing. So I think Memphis gets the win tonight.
I'll be looking forward to the hockey tonight. The Bruins will be trying to close out the Panthers in the Eastern Conference game tonight. Pivotal Game 5 out west. Seattle at Colorado. The defending champion Avalanche must cope without star defenseman Cale Makar, last year's Conn Smythe Trophy winner, unjustly and unfairly suspended for tonight's game by the Department of Player Safety. The Avs were 16-3-2 without Makar in the regular season. Hopefully they can find a way to take a 3-2 lead in that series tonight. We'll take one more final break, come back with a final word on this shortened edition of 580 Sports Talk. Time for the final word on this very short edition of 580 Sports Talk. Brendan, you have the floor first.
Final word for me, Dan, is that, look, I wasn't expecting a whole lot against Zach Gallen, to be completely honest with you. But instead of focusing on a loss today, let's focus on the good from last night. Barlow got his groove back, and more importantly than anyone, Brady Singer got his groove back a little bit. Need to see it more often, but hey, I'll take 1 over the 0 we had gotten so far this year.
Final word for me today. We didn't get a full playoff roundup, so I didn't get to talk about my beloved Denver Nuggets advancing out of the first round of the Western Conference playoffs with a nail-biting 3-point win over the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I was going through it. That was not a particularly inspiring first 12 minutes from my beloved Nugmen, but they found a way to turn the tide and win the game. And they can't get worse performances from 2 of their 3 best players. Jokic and MPJ were both pretty bad last night, but Jokic still had a 27-point triple-double in a bad game. So that's who he is. And that's who the Nuggets are, advancing in 5 games. Until 2019, in my lifetime, the Nuggets had gotten out of the first round 3 times. And 1988 doesn't really count. I was born in 86. So the fact that they've done it in 4 of the last 5 postseasons now is a pretty big deal to me. And I am very excited and very happy. So you may also be happy for me. That'll do it for us. We got a weird day tomorrow. I'm on Mic'd Up with Fulton from noon to 3. Brendan and Jake live from the NFL draft tomorrow from 3 to 6. We will talk to you then on 580 WIBW.